y'all, we're back with another video. Today we're going to do an oil change. There's some great helpful tips on our group that talks about the oil change. So what we're going to do is we're going to follow those tips and just create a little video about it. Hopefully this will help everybody out. So we've just warmed up the boat, took it out for a spin around the lake for about 5-6 minutes or so. One end to the other, and now we're headed back to the dock and we'll be doing an oil change. Alright, so for our oil change today, we got our tools laid out. You'll see in the middle there I have a bucket, oil pan, drain pan. Basically that's just to catch the oil filter. We have our oil change kit, which comes with the 4 quarts of oil, an oil filter, and the gaskets. I also have a funnel, obviously, to make things a little bit easier. We have our spline drive kit over here to remove the oil filter. I have a torque wrench, inch-pound torque wrench, some paper towels, and obviously some cloth just to wipe the dipstick and clean up. And then I have my oil extractor. This is an 8-quart oil extractor. I just got it off of, I think I got it from AutoZone. It was like 60 bucks. I think you can get them cheaper online. I went for the larger capacity just to make it easier. I have a few things that I change oil on at home as well, so I figured fewer trips to the dump to get rid of the oil. So we have the engine compartment open. The first thing we're going to do is remove our 4 fuses. It's the fuse box is up in the, well, in the 203 anyways. It's up in the right corner on the port side. So there's 4 10A amp fuses, and they're all marked cylinder 1, 2, 3, and then the pump. So to remove the cap, you just squeeze these 2 little clips here, and it just pops up like that. Okay. So you see the 4 10A amp or 10 amp fuses here. I'm just gonna pop those out. 2, 3, and 4. All good. All right, so this is the ACE 300 engine, dipstick right here, oil filler cap right here. So I'm gonna go ahead, remove the dipstick, and just wipe off the oil, make sure nothing drips anywhere, and set that aside. So this is our oil extractor. I already have it set up. Inside here, there's a gasket, and then the thicker diameter tube. And then there's another gasket that goes in here down into the smaller diameter tube. This is going to go right into where you just pulled your dipstick out of. All right, so I'm going to turn this to open to allow flow. This is a really nice pump. When we're ready to just put everything back in the truck and head home, I can just close this, nothing, not worry about anything coming out. All right, so the instruction said for larger engines, you want a maximum of 50, no more than 50 pumps to start the extraction. So I think once I get up to probably about 20, we're gonna start seeing the oil pulling through here all by itself. Feel the oil through the tube. It's nice and warm. Seems to be flowing well. No leaks, thank God. All right, so we've extracted about 3 quarts, maybe a little bit over 3 quarts of oil out of the engine. Right now what I've done was I've replaced the oil cap as well as the dipstick. And remember, my fuses are out. I'm going to crank the engines to get more oil into the reservoir that we need to continue to siphon out. I don't expect there to be all that much left in there, but we're going to go ahead and see how much there is. All right, so to wrap up the extraction, what we did was we cranked the engine about 5 times. After each time you crank the engine, just wait about a minute or 2, and then siphon again. It's key to have your the siphon hose in at about 18 inches. If it starts to lose suction, just either move the siphon in a little bit further or pull the hose out just a little bit, and it'll grab some more oil and it'll start sucking. The suction will still be there. But do that about 5 times, and we got out I'd say a little bit more than 4 quarts, a little over 4 quarts. So the next thing we're going to do is to take off the filter. So I have my spline drive and my socket set ready to go. I'm going to take that off, replace that with the O-rings, and then we're going to add oil. Alright, so what I did was to remove the oil filter. Oil filter is just at the back of the engine, I guess depending on where you're standing, it's the front or back. Directly in back of the engine, right above this sticker. It sits right on top, kind of like this, and there's the spline drive. Didn't take much effort to loosen that at all, so don't crank on it. You don't want to break it. And it's hot as hell, so make sure you have a rag or something that you can hold on to it with. And then I just set up my oil pan inside the engine compartment and just moved it over quickly. I didn't really have any drips. I did put a towel inside just to keep oil off the engine. Just keep things clean. Alright, so this is what we pulled out, the oil filter. This is the spline drive. It runs all the way right through. And this is the filter. The filter is going to come right off of here. And you can see these 2 rings here. There's a black one on the lower side and the red one up top. These are the 2 rings you're going to replace. Alright, so the filter just kind of sits snug up in here. Don't think you need to take this nut off or anything. This nut is just holding the sleeve in place. And when you wrench it down, it'll help stop the nut from going too far. Alright, so here's our new filter gaskets assembled. Just have your 1 quart oil next to you. Open it up, dip your finger on it. Get those O-rings nice and lubricated. The thin one, or the smaller one, goes up towards the top, and the thicker one goes down towards the bottom. When the filter goes on, I don't know if it matters, but Rotax, the stamp part number is on the bottom. And then I just cleaned up the top a little bit, and that'll go right back in and get secured. Alright, we've gone ahead and replaced the oil filter. I'm going to go ahead and add 3 quarts of oil to start, and then we'll take our measurements. Alright, so we just warmed up the boat for about 5 minutes, got the engine nice and hot. We're going to just double check our oil levels and just make sure we're in between the lines, and then we will top off if needed. I think we ran about 3.5 quarts originally. Let's see. It's looking pretty good. It's a little bit higher than middle of the 2 notches, but it's better than being over. I think we're good. 3.5 quarts.